It's been just 2 weeks since the Easter holidays. Over that period, 235 people lost their lives on the roads. This long weekend, most people are yet again travelling to various destinations. I mean, you heard Rob Byrne talking about the numbers that are going through respective plazas. Now, what is the Department of Transport doing to strengthen the 365-day road safety campaign programme? Well, the Deputy Minister in charge of the portfolio is in studio with us. Not in studio with us, she's going to be talking to us. Sindisiwe Chikunga, she's visiting several areas to educate and create awareness on road safety. And today she's in the Eastern Cape. Deputy Minister, thank you very much for joining us and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much, Leanne, and good morning to South Africa.
So the weekend started yesterday for most people. How busy have our main roads been? I mean, it's just been quite insane, actually, when we've heard the numbers leaving Johannesburg, some going to KZN, 2,200 vehicles an hour.
Yes, indeed. Our roads started to be very busy on Wednesday, and we're expecting that the traffic volumes will increase today, because most people will be working and taking into account that we have a holiday on Monday, they will then be traveling. But when we launched the Easter weekend in the Western Cape on the 31st, we said we're going to focus on it in 3 phases: the pre-Easter weekend, and then Easter weekend, and then post-Easter weekend. We're ensuring that we do not lose sight of this very long weekend in our 365 days road safety program. And that is why we are again out on the road with operations and activations, visibility, to ensure that people are safe. So far, we have had 1 crash reported on the Bronco-Spruit Road, same spot where 19 plus a driver, children perished, 3 vehicles involved, 2 people dying. And we extend our condolences to the families. We're hoping that it will be the very last crash to happen. We will be requesting South Africans to please adhere to the rules of the road so that we are safe again during this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a very devastating month, in fact, for motor accidents, and particularly for your department. When we look at figures that are showing that accidents and death rates, the fatalities have increased by 51% over the Easter weekend, and that is not in putting into account this weekend as well, where loads of people are going to be going away. There are so many different campaigns out there, and obviously the minister himself saying you cannot possibly have a traffic official on every street corner. It cannot work that way. What are we doing wrong as South Africans? What's happening?
You know, Leanne, if you check with other countries such as Australia, they will tell you that at some stage there were at 30,000 people dying per year. Right now, there are between 208 and 300 people dying per year. In South Africa, that is a figure that we do within a week or so. But they said they heightened and increased and intensified the awareness campaign, the education, which we are doing. Because it doesn't matter whether you have a traffic officer on every kilometer, but between the kilometer and the next traffic officer, if the driver is not clear on what he should do, an accident can happen. The one that I'm talking about, it happened just a kilometer away from the traffic officers. In fact, after the traffic officers, the one that happened during the past night, in the past night. So this is what we think we need to deal with: the issue of attitude, the issue of behavior, the issue of wanting to be safe on the road by motorists themselves. Whether you are a pedestrian, you are a driver, you are a passenger. Remember, just this past weekend, 50% of people that died were passengers. You can actually attribute that to the main crashes that happened in Tunjambili, a bus, and of course the taxi accident in Western Cape and in KZN as well. But also 24.6% of accident happened between a car and a pedestrian. This therefore means for us, even if this weekend, in fact today, we will be on the main routes, that is national roads and other hazardous roads that we have identified, but we still have got to move to our municipality roads in the residential areas, because if it is a pedestrian, surely it will be somebody who is walking and a vehicle. 24.56% of the accidents that happened were between those, and of course, and it led to death of pedestrians. Yeah. And this is what we think we need to do. We need to talk to people to say, please, you are pedestrian, but be safe on the road.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a big year, because I mean, obviously we know that South Africa is a signatory to the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety, and I mean the aim of this is to bring global deaths down by 50% in 2020. I mean, when you look at these figures, and you know, we're 3 years away from that, it doesn't seem like we'll reach this target as a country.
I hope we do, Leanne. In fact, for the Easter weekend, we had said we're going to reduce accidents by 50%, and we increased them by 51%. We still believe that even if it is seen to be very ambitious, but it is a morally correct target. We think it is noble to set a target such as that one, and we'll continue to do that. Right now, we will, as South Africa, be participating in the UN Global Road Safety Week, which will commence on the 8th of May up to the 14th. South Africa, in fact, the UN is saying, let's focus on the management of speed. And South Africa will be saying hashtag slow down to save lives. Because we think at some stage South Africa drivers must slow down the speed, because in developing countries, 50% of accidents are attributed to speed. In developed countries, 1/3 of accidents are attributed to speed. And therefore, speed is playing an important role in causing accidents on our roads. And most of those are very fatal. Yeah. And we can't do that. And that is why we're saying, please, South Africa, slow down. And we will be focusing on that day. We are happy that some private sector companies, such as car insurance companies, have indicated that they too will have their programs, but they also want to join the Department of Transport and therefore government in ensuring that that week has impact on the slowing down of speed in South Africa. And we're inviting other companies to join us, car manufacturing companies, truckers to join us, public transport, and private cars, everybody to join us in reducing speed, so that starting from then, even starting from today, we reduce speed, because indeed it is responsible for many of our fatal accidents on the road, the head-on collisions that we are seeing, particularly between small cars and of course public transport.
Yeah, just on a final closing note, Deputy Minister, I think one of the most devastating accidents that we've seen in South Africa happened last week. I mean, when we saw 20 people dying in one accident, and these are little children we're talking about. Overloading is obviously, everything is still under investigation, but it's not unique to South Africa. When we see overloading, we see unsafe driving, taxis that are not necessarily abiding by the rules of the road, and putting South Africans' lives at jeopardy. Your life is not in your hands when you get into some of these public transports. You know, how are we going to educate the drivers that this is not the way to behave on the roads? Indeed,
Leanne. In fact, if you're talking about that accident, first I must extend my own sincere condolences to the families. You know, in a country where you have 19 school kids dying, the country should actually come to a standstill and think and reflect on that, to say, what is it that we're having wrong and we're doing wrong on the road? If 19 young people die just like that and bend beyond recognition, it's something that we need to focus on and reflect on as a country. I think the issue of overloading is a problem. We have a learner transport policy that was adopted by Cabinet and is being implemented right now. Some of the issues that are in that learner policy is to have those vehicles marked, that's the first thing, but also traffic officers checking on them whether they are abiding by the rules of the road. But school teachers and those that are principals that are responsible for issuing those contracts to those people, to to ensure that they abide by the contract. It's a very comprehensive policy, and if it is implemented to the latter, we can prevent such accidents. Of course, we could not have, probably, if you look at what is alleged to have happened, maybe legally we could have been done, but we would not be talking about 27 children in a bus that is, or a taxi that is supposed to transport 22 people. We would not be talking about that. No. And that is illegal and it is wrong. Yeah, but we're saying to South Africa, we will indeed be on the road. We wish all of them very safe long weekend, but of course safe year on the road. We have most of our holidays, Leanne, falling on weekends. June 16 is on Friday, 24th of September is on Sunday, and therefore the 25th will be a holiday. And if we're not careful, we might have a year of many accidents and many people dying. But we're calling upon South Africa to join us, because it's not just the Department of Transport, but it's all of us that must be safe on our roads.
All right, Deputy Minister, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much for talking to us on the programme. The Deputy Minister, Sindisiwe Chikunga of Transport here in South Africa. Let's take a break. When we return,